I want to do to you what the wind does to the cherry trees, is what Pablo says. There's a very sort of reciprocation to life, nature, and how you want to do with a tree, a plant, a landscape. I think the experience to build an architecture of the Aquaville was in a similar cognition of how natural, how cognitive you can be to the planet. Most beautiful aspect of the house is that you can dismantle the house and re-erect it anywhere. A 20,000 square feet house, including the stone walls, including the gabion walls, including the gates. Every element in this site can be removed, carted to another place, re-erected. Means not that the need is to do that, but is to state that everything can be recycled. And you get to see nature. You're part of the monsoon, you're part of the rain, and you're part of the landscape. I'm sitting here in the dining and looking at the most beautiful rain that you could ever experience as part of the Bangalore weather. And it is with me, in my space, and I feel like I'm sitting in a garden pavilion. And I think that's what the happy space is all about. Hi, I'm an architect. My name is Ravindra Kumar. I am one of the architects as part of the co-working group called Prague Group. We try and do as much as we can to be parcels of the joy of being human and to the joy of being nature. We can build and we can see how this architecture can grow. Please do feel free to write on the YouTube, connect or write to me in person or connect with Buildofy, and I'll be more than glad to reciprocate and respond. So this was one piece of land which was almost implicitly intact and not grown for the longest period. So I think the presence of the lake created a very, very beautiful impact. It was necessary for us to kind of look at it, and it was east for us. That was another factor of joy. It's primarily a transition space, just a pavilion for a family to live. It's completely transparent, lets maximization of light and the nature and elements of the exterior to sort of seep in to the livable space. It holds very minimal sort of floor space as a capture of the occupation on the planet. Everything about it is recycled, is reduce used, and also is rejuvenated kind of a use. He was a very large, joint family living with brothers and sisters, their husbands, his parents, his two children and their family. So it was almost like 60, 70 people being all together in a common ground. So there was this huge embankment of lake which was very organic along the edge line. So as we started doing the necessary pitching, we could manage to get the grading of water and the caliber of the cleanliness pretty accurate. And that became like an edge walk, a seamless kind of an edge walk for people to walk by and live. So the first initial access started being drawn from the fact that there was that space, and for us to build a kind of a rest house pavilion as part of the master plan became very important. So the intention was to build with minimal steel using simple angular panels. Literally the steel structural element that was designed was done as from our own architect's office collaborating with fabricators, and less of inclusion of structural consultants on the project program. Along the edge line there was a huge drop, so we put a pitch of the gabion wall edge line which became a retainer for the rest of the landscape and let the farmland grow further on. An elaborate drive-in porch was also envisaged to form like a circular drive or drop-off so that senior citizens, friends and family would visit, so they would have a comfortable sort of arrival experience to the house, because this was initially designed to be only a guest house. Also, we decided to compound the property because it was sitting on a large 11-acre property. It was important for us to ensure that there is enough security to the capture of livability. So we made these elaborate kind of edge stone walls made out of rough cut stone, just stacked above each other like the way temples were built. We added a small temple pavilion for the family, which also was again built using cubes of stone. Annexed to that, we saw this beautiful gulmohar tree blooming with 3 different strange color species. Actually, when it is all in orange and yellow, it's spectacular. So we kind of integrated the house to be built like the phantom sort of house, which is on the treetop, and through the branches in between was the space car.
Actually, this whole building, what you are seeing, is completely pre-engineered building. It's called prefabricated. So some of the steel material we have made here, and some we have fabricate in our factory, and from there we have shipped here. Whatever steel, this one wood part you are seeing, that is imported from Indonesia, Bali and Sumatra. So this complete material, this wood also is a prefabricated kind of thing. So we have bring like a complete package, and here we have assembled it, and painting and all other process we have done here. And main all structure is used by Tata Steel. Whatever material we have used, the prime steel material, YST 350, the higher grade material, so that that section will be not bigger. In lesser thickness, we can get the strength. The strength that it will look very sleek. This tree house is like a dream house kind of thing. When you decided to build a tree house, so you are worried about the tree, because this is a gulmohar tree. It's not hard like that banyan tree and peepal tree. It's very, when rain come or wind will come, the first whatever tree falls, gulmohar is the first one. So we are very worried about that. What is the detailing given? The very particular detailing, very easy to understand, and we have conveyed that to our work team, and completely we have did it here only. We have not done any machinery this one process. Here only we have completely that straps and all made by hand only, bending and all those things. And for that we have used EPDM rubber packing, so that when tree will grow, so that steel will not hurt the tree. That main trunk should be go, and it's completely free from the land. So suppose after 2 or 3 years when tree will grow, that completely house also will be lifted. It's completely free from the this one ground. Completely that whole load is on the tree only. 2 trees are there, and we have tied some small members. It's like a tree branches. So we have constructed another one tree like in between the 2 trees. So it's like one whole structure.
So we developed a different piece of a small water harvesting tank on the ground, put a large cabana pavilion, and allowed access walkways around it for the family to primarily enjoy the walk in the landscape. The rest of the landscape and the master plan primarily focused at looking at the home and its visual to the water idea. And the landscape itself was to make sure that there would be a flower garden, there would be a vegetable garden, there would be a precinct for sort of orchids and more shade-loving landscape. There would be a patch of lawn that would also become a hub for gatherings of 200, 500 capacity. All this was in a way defined as patterns of the architecture that was done to the master plan. In terms of the materiality of the making, it was primary, it was natural. There was nothing that was plastic. Everything was materials that came out of earth and could go back to the earth as biodegradable. A minimal amount of steel. We managed to build the whole house at 4 kgs per square feet consumption of steel, which is very brutally minimal for a steel structure construction today. The floor is raised by 1.5 meters, blocked off for rodents not to enter beneath the floor, allows natural water percolations to happen into the earth and water space. Everything that you see here is natural, including the furniture, including your cabinet work, the kitchen works, the wall panel, the ceiling panel, the flooring panel, the outdoor decks. We did not even want to look at composite wood for the outdoor decks. That's also using primarily focused at the harvested wood. The three-dimensional extension of the geometry of plan, for us, it's again fascinating because there are no supported lintels, there are no supported perimeter connect lines. So the glass spans from floor to ceiling. The window is from floor to ceiling, the door is from floor to ceiling. It's very elemental in its fundamentals. The walls are very minimal, only I think the partition walls of the toilets and the kitchen, which are all fly ash blocks. They're not even plastered, it's just a layer of putty, lime render and Adora that is done to the surface line. The architecture is minimal. Even if you look at the matrix of the window or the glass frames, we have used less timber. So there is no pattern for the necessity of it being what I call an aesthetic need to make a Tuscan order or a Georgian pattern of a window. So everything is elemental. So we use less material in its making. The frames are just enough to hold the glass. The shutter is just enough to hold the frames of the shutter. The doors are also the same. Patterns are the same. We use barcoding so that no wood is wasted. Even the edge pieces are reused and recycled use. So the wastage parameter of the glass and the timber is zero. As far as the rest of the technology innovation is concerned, there is accurate BMS systems, there is accurate, audio video systems in terms of the acoustic surfaces of timber are micro-perforated to make sure that the voice experience of the house is spectacular. We've used louvered panels as external and internal elements. There is enough overhang to protect water ingress. We have minimized skylights within the architecture capture space. In the rooms and the rest of the space, the fabric that we've used is hand woven. Most of the furniture that is made is handcrafted. And the artifacts is all handcrafted, bought by the farmer, by the craftsman who works on that project. He did not defy nothing that we wanted, and it was a beautiful song. Just as two ballerinas will sway on a flat ground and create the experience of a song. I think Aquaville was an experience of such an entourage where each of its element was carefully crafted to its being, and each of the spaces, I think, was built intentionally to be a traveler's rest house pavilion. We as Homo beings or Homo sapiens should try and less habituate the planet, because we made tremendous amount of urban footprint to the ground. So if we can build or bring about examples of such architectural ideas to tell people that you have to build less, occupy less, and insinuate and distress Mother Earth less, I think then the story is complete.